Good morning, Kenya. Rise and shine to the morning momentum. Your daily dose of a comprehensive rundown of the top stories making the headlines. It is the 23rd day of July, 2025. A beautiful Wednesday it is. And the program on air is the morning momentum. This is a daily compendium of local and international news, human interest stories, current affairs, and expert opinion. Use the hashtag the morning momentum at Younib Media TV at Alphonce Albakwekwe. Let's take a look at the top stories making the headlines on the nation this morning. On the front page, UDA bigwigs plot exodus. Now, game plan, the 2027 political realignments rock the ruling party. Already under siege from a rebel faction allied to ousted Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the woes of the governing United Democratic Alliance are set to worsen, with top former loyalists, including Senate Majority Whip, joining the rebellion. The man tasked with whipping members to toe the line has declared the party dead. That story is beefed up for you on page 7. Among those that are plotting their exodus or have already announced their exit are Boni Halwale, Senate Majority Whip. There is Gloria Orwoba, ousted Senator Mohammed Ali Nyali MP, Joash Nyamoko, North Mugirango MP, Jane Kihara, Naivasha MP, and Ndindi Nyoro, Kiharu MP. Those are the big wigs mentioned on the front page of the nation this morning. Now, on page 4, state slaps more protest suspects with terrorism charges, and we'll take a look at that shortly. On page 8, 25,000 promoted teachers lament over elusive new higher salaries. That story is augmented for you on page 8. On page 3 this morning, free at last. On death row in Saudi Arabia for over a decade, dreading a date with the executioner every day, the nightmare for Stephen Munyaho finally ended yesterday when he was freed after dramatic negotiations with the family of Yemeni citizen whose death following a feud led to his conviction. It took 150 million shillings blood money for his life to be spared. That story is beefed up for you on page 3. 14 is the number of years Stephen was imprisoned in Saudi Arabia. Let's delve into the nation up close and candid on page 2. Cancer patients 4-month vigil. Now, the daily journey from Nyeri to beg for life. Battle to stay alive. Gatamu Waigwa, 70 years, has been going to SHA offices daily, seeking a better package. How can I sit and wait for the next financial year while this demon called cancer ravages my body, is the question he is asking. Now, for the past 4 months, Gatamu Waigwa, 70, has woken up at 4 a.m. to board a matatu to Nairobi from Nyeri. His destination, the Social Health Authority offices, where he spent the entire day pleading with officials to save his life. His crime, being a cancer patient caught in Kenya's chaotic transition from the National Hospital Insurance Fund to the Social Health Authority. The retired anesthetist's ordeal began when SHA slashed his oncology benefits from 600,000 shillings under NHIF to 400,000 shillings, a reduction he said will kill him. That story is beefed up for you on page 2. On page 3 this morning, relief, saved from death row, a mother's joy, a son freed from Saudi prison. Steve-O was facilitated to perform his Umrah and now awaits his return once his travel arrangements are finalized. Stephen Munyaho, who is popularly known as Steve-O, left Kenya for Saudi Arabia in 1996 in search of employment. When Stephen Munyaho walked out of Daban prison in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia yesterday, he was not the same man who had been led in 14 years ago. Now, then he was 37, but now at 51, he returns to a family that has been waiting nearly 2 decades for his return. Munyaho, popularly known as Steve-O, left Kenya for Saudi Arabia in search of employment and was lucky to find a job as a warehouse manager at a Red Sea tourist resort. In 2011, he was involved in a physical altercation with a colleague at work, which unfortunately resulted in the death of the Yemeni citizen Abdul Halim Mujahid. Steve-O was injured and later taken to hospital by police officers before being charged in a court of law. Let's move on and take a look at page 4. 7 protesters are slapped with new terrorism-related charges. Now, MP moves to court, accuses the government of using Prevention of Terrorism Act to silence critics. Youngsters who had been linked to arson and malicious damage of property rearrested in Machakos. Now, the state will prefer terror-related charges against 7 young people arrested in Machakos County during the Sabasaba demonstrations on July 7th. The 6 men and a woman were rearrested at Kithimani in Machakos yesterday, soon after the prosecution dropped arson and malicious damage charges against them. The suspects are expected to be charged at the Kahawa Law Courts this morning, and they will be joining a growing list of people slapped with terrorism charges following the demonstration on June 25th and on July 7th. You want to catch up with that story on page 4. On page 5 this morning, Lagat, I took leave, I did not resign. He says temporary absence was to allow IPOA to conduct investigations. He was responding to petition seeking his removal. Deputy IG Eliud Lagat never stepped aside from office following his alleged involvement in the death of teacher Albert Ojwang last month, fresh court filings have revealed. Instead, Mr. Lagat says he only took administrative leave from work for 18 days, dismissing widely circulated reports that he had stepped down from his position as DIG of the Kenya Police Service. He says the temporary leave of absence was to allow the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, to conduct investigations after mounting public pressure over Ojwang's death at Nairobi's Central Police Station. All that is augmented for you on page 5. Now, let's move on and take a look at page 6. Raila, I did not benefit from handshake deal. Building Bridges Initiative constitutional reform process sought to address governance and electoral issues. Contrary to the perception that he struck a backroom deal, Raila claims the partnership was solely about pursuing national reforms. Orange Democratic Movement leader Raila Odinga has dismissed claims that he personally benefited from his political truce with former President Uhuru Kenyatta, insisting he did not secure any government positions or personal gains during the handshake era. Speaking during an interview with The Nation, Mr. Odinga said that contrary to the perception that he struck a backroom deal with Mr. Kenyatta following his political detente with his then enemies in March 2018, christened the handshake, the partnership was solely about pursuing national reforms rather than personal or political rewards for himself and his allies. That story is beefed up for you on page 6. On page 7 this morning, Ruto allies plot UDA exit ahead of 2027. Now, many leaders in Mount Kenya have gravitated towards Gachagua, while others are trooping to former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i. DP Kithure Kindiki denied undermining Embu Governor Cecily Mbarire and other local leaders. That story is augmented for you on page 7. At a glance, important dates in Kenya's political calendar. Now, June 1st is the date Embu Governor Cecily Mbarire accused senior state officials of plotting her downfall. Deputy President quickly called a meeting with the governor and later said he and leaders in Embu are in good terms. July 10th, 2025 is the day Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro accused top government officials of arrogance and impunity. On July 11th, 2025 is the day when Nyali MP Mohammed Ali criticized the shoot-to-kill orders to police by government officials. 2027 is the year Kenya holds general election. The last one was in 2022. Let's move on and take a look at page 8. 25,000 promoted teachers yet to get letters from Teachers Service Commission. Those promoted say they need offices for their new roles. NAT Nairobi branch says more than 200 members have not heard from the employer. Complaints, what promoted tutors are saying, some teachers have received promotion letters while others have not. Some have received the letters but not given responsibilities yet. A number of those promoted say they were in the same job group longer than was necessary, and the teachers who pursue the matter to county education officers are told to be patient. Patience is running out. Those promoted are waiting for their pay to be adjusted. That story is beefed up for you on page 8. Let's move on and take a look at page 10. Media practitioners give their nod to a new code of conduct. The proposed guidelines introduced stricter regulations for players. The new rules will safeguard both media freedom and public interest, sector players have said. Now, stakeholders in the media industry have given their nod to a new set of professional rules, the Code of Conduct for Media Practice 2025, telling lawmakers to fast-track its implementation. Appearing before National Assembly Committee on Delegated Legislation, media sector players said the new Code of Conduct has been subjected to intensive public participation and had received widespread support. In their submission to the MPs, the practitioners who comprise representatives from the Kenya Union of Journalists, Kenya Editors Guild, Media Owners Association, Digital Broadcasters Association, Kenya Parliamentary Journalists Association, and Association of Media Women in Kenya, said the new rules would safeguard both media freedom and public interest. That story is beefed up for you on page 10. All right. Now, investigation search for missing 16 intensifies amid probe on Kilifi cult. The whereabouts of at least 16 people remain unknown as investigations into suspected cult-related activities linked to a remote farm in Binzaro in Chakama location, Kilifi County, intensify. Detectives said some of the suspects who have been arrested have disclosed that there are more victims aside from the 6 children reported missing at Siaya Police Station on April 15th. These include 4 additional relatives and 6 others allegedly radicalized through religious indoctrination and extremist ideology. The children's parents are among those currently in police custody. Let's move on and take a look at the expert opinion now. Risky logic behind Duale's escapist order to hospitals. Now, there is no dignity working in such poor conditions. There is no quality when one nurse is attending to 30 patients in a single shift. Those are the sentiments of Stella Bosire. That is expert opinion in as far as health is concerned. You want to catch up with that on page 12. On page 13, we are leveling up Wajir's growth. Now, livestock remains the main economic activity in Wajir, though it comes to face significant challenges. That is a sentiment from Felix Koskei, an economist, and that is on page 13. On the DN2 article this morning, it's all about parenting. Lost lineage, growing child-free trends robs the old of grandchildren. As more young Kenyans choose to remain child-free, many elderly people are facing a quiet, painful void, the loss of all they once expected to cherish. That is all making the headlines on the parenting on the DN2 article this morning. Let's shift gears and take a look at county news. We start with Nakuru County. Lawyers, KWS protecting rangers in abduction case. Brian Odhiambo has not been found since he went missing. Park head fails to produce documents showing arrests made on January 18th. Now, 6 Kenya Wildlife Service rangers charged with abducting Mr. Brian Odhiambo are still on duty despite pleading to the charges more than 3 months ago. The revelations were made in court during hearing of their case on Monday. Mr. Odhiambo, a fisherman, is still missing. Lake Nakuru National Park head Emmanuel Koech was at pains to explain why the officers have not been interdicted. Lawyers for the family of Mr. Odhiambo and the Law Society of Kenya LSK demanded that Mr. Koech explains the reason the 6 are still at work. Now, in Tana River County, governor launches a school feeding scheme. Now, the devolved government of Tanariva has launched a 16 million school feeding program. The program, coming just days before second term ends, aims to benefit early childhood development education. It will later be expanded to secondary schools that have been grappling with the capitation challenges, Governor Dado Godana has said. Briefly, in Nyeri County, I did not kill girl, man tells court. A man has denied killing a 7-year-old girl and burying the body under his bed in Witemere, Nyeri County. Nicholas Masharia is charged with killing Tamara Blessings, a grade 1 pupil, on May 24th. Tamara had been missing for 2 days before her body was found on May 26th. Locals and friends said she was last seen playing near Nyeri Open Air Market, where her mother works as a trader. In West Pokot, cannibals to be held for 7 days. A court has allowed the DCI to detain 12 people linked to child abductions and cannibalism in Kapenguria for 7 more days. Lead investigator Edward Ndemo said the extension would allow experts to analyze human remains found at the scene of crime. They are accused of abducting, killing, and consuming and/or disposing of the bodies of at least 10 people whose disappearances were reported at Kapenguria Police Station. The story is beefed up for you on page 15. In Nairobi County, locals take part in slum cleanup. Residents of Mukuru, Kwanjenga, and local leaders took part in a cleanup of the slum on Saturday with calls for more such exercises. It included sweeping, collecting garbage, and unclogging trenches. Let's move on and take a look at more county news. Blow to state plan as court holds Kiambu EPZ project. Now, judge issues conservatory order pending full hearing. Locals say there was no public participation to give views. Water at risk of contamination. You want to catch up with that on page 16. Also, this morning, strikes. Schools in Kericho, Bomet shut due to unrest. Now, 5 secondary schools in Bomet and Kericho counties have been closed in the past week following a wave of student unrest. In Kericho County, Moi T Girls Secondary School, Leitain Boys High School, Kipsigis Girls High School, and Kiptawit Boys Secondary School were affected. In Bomet County, Kaplong Girls High School was closed on Friday. Students broke windows and damaged a school vehicle following allegations that a teacher had impregnated a student. That story is beefed up for you on page 16. All right, let's shift gears and take a look at what's in the international scene. We start with security. U.S. Golden Dome looks for alternatives to masks. Traditional defense giants Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin are also in talks. Now, ambitions mirror those of Israel's Iron Dome, a homeland missile shield. All right, let's delve into that a little bit. The Donald Trump administration is expanding its search for partners to build the Golden Dome missile defense system, quoting Amazon.com's Project Kuiper and big defense contractors as tensions with Elon Musk threaten SpaceX dominance in the program, according to sources familiar with the matter. The shift marks a strategic pivot away from reliance on Musk's SpaceX, whose Starlink and Starshield satellite networks have become central to U.S. military communications. That story is beefed up for you on page 17. Now, in Mogadishu, Shabab take over towns denied. The Somali National Army has denied Al-Shabaab claims of recapturing the key towns of Sabid and Kanule, about 40 kilometers south of capital Mogadishu. An officer said the Somali and African Union troops intensified patrols in the area, with the militants aiming to recapture the two towns. Al-Shabaab said the towns were retaken on Sunday afternoon following the withdrawal of Ugandan soldiers and Somali security forces. In Dhaka, protests as jet crash toll climbs. National mourning turned to anger in Bangladesh on Tuesday as the death toll from a fighter jet crash into a school in Dhaka jumped to 31, sparking protests by students against the interim government. At least 25 of the dead were children, many under the age of 12, who were about to return home on Monday when the F-7 BGI Bangladesh Air Force jet plowed into Milestone School and College and burst into flames. The story is augmented for you on page 17. Also, in Yaoundé, social media revamped by Biya, 92 fails to attract young voters. Even before the world's oldest president confirmed he would run for an 8th term, his social media accounts left experts in no doubt. By the time 92-year-old Paul Biya said he would seek re-election as Cameroon's president last week, he had been ramping up online presence for months. Daily posts on Facebook and X mark a striking departure from his previous occasional presence. You will catch up with that on page 17. Let's move on and take a look at page 18. That's business news. Now we start with transport. NTSA has no control over own portal, says auditor. Agency is paid 186 million to acquire the new online system. Authorities' lack of control exposes crucial services to data breaches and leakages. 186 billion shillings is the amount of money that NTSA paid to get the system. That story is beefed up for you on page 18. Let's take a look at the hospitality sector. Hemingway's grows with Mara Luxury Camp Travel Group. Hemingway's Hospitality has acquired Richards River Camp, a luxury tented safari facility in the Masai Mara, marking a second back-to-back acquisition in months as it seeks to grow its stake in the niche market. In the transport sector, new Bolt feature allows booking for 9 people. Bolt has launched a new feature on its app that allows one user to manage and pay for rides for up to 9 from a single account. Bolt said the feature, dubbed Family Profile, would help simplify coordination of trips in different locations. All right, let's move to some sporting action. We take a look at what's happening in the field. Let's start with the secondary school games. All set for national action in Kakamega. Butere Girls High vow to retain the football title, and hostile venues are ready. Hosting venues are ready even as teams engage in final preparations for games. The story is augmented for you on page 26. In athletics, Kenya's success at African junior events not by accident. Kenya scooped 34 medals as the country showcased its rich athletics talent at the African Under-18 and 20 championships at the Abiola Sports Complex in Aboekuta, Nigeria. The 5-day event provided a perfect platform as Kenya's next generation of athletes shone. You want to catch up with that on page 26. On page 27, Bajaba aiming high with the Stars. Despite flopping trials in Denmark, skilled midfielder returned to Kenya and won the premiership in style. Kenya policeman wants a piece of CHAN, AFCON and World Cup action with Kenya and a slice of European football with Big Guns Arsenal. That is making up the headlines on page 27 right there. And let's take a look at the cover page. Kenya's best to face the world. 2025 World Athletics Championships. Team Kenya will next pitch camp in Eldoret. Athletics Kenya picks team of 58 after trials at Ulinzi, who will represent the country at the biennial championships. Surprise and upsets were the order of the day during the Kenyan trials for the 2025 World Athletics Championships at Ulinzi Sports Complex in Nairobi yesterday. At the end of the day, Athletics Kenya duly picked 58 athletes for the biennial showpiece that will be held in Tokyo from September 13th to 21st. It was an explosive one-day trials that will now be followed by residential training for the selected athletes in Eldoret before relocating to Nairobi after the African Nations Championships CHAN end on August 30th. That story is what is augmented for you on the cover page of the Daily Nation. You have the Team Kenya squad men. Let's just take a quick look at who will be representing Kenya. In the 100 meters, it will be Ferdinand Omanyala. 400 meters, George Mutinda, Brian Tinega, Kevin Kipkorir. There is 400 hurdles, 800 meters, all the way to 4x4s, and javelin, the famous goat Julius Yego. In the women, 400 meters will be represented by Mercy Okech. You have mixed relay there, Mercy Chebet, 10,000 meters, Beatrice Chebet, Agnes Ngetich, and Janet Chepngetich, among many others that are all beefed up for you on the cover page of The Nation. Now, with that story of World Athletics Championships, we come to the tail end of today's session of the Morning Momentum. Thank you so much for choosing to watch the best youth television network in East and Central Africa. The program on air has been the Morning Momentum, and we extend our heartfelt gratitude to all those who made this broadcast a success so that you could tune in. Behind the lens this morning has been Raphael Wangila, and the chief controller has been Eunice Mutua. My name is Alphonce Ouma. See you on Friday, same time, maybe different location. Until then, do have